Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream. And if you're new, welcome. Lots of new faces around Cardano at the minute. Great to see a bit more excitement, a bit more activity going on there. And I am joined by Josh as usual. Farid will be joining in with us fairly soon, I think. Anyone who might be new to the stream, we do these every second Monday, and it's more of a laid back stream, us having a conversation around what's going on in the community at the minute. We'll take a quick look at some of the stats around what's happening, some project updates, and the ones that we find the best are when the community gets involved, when the community asks questions here, drives the conversation, because that's really what it is us giving our opinion, having a bit of a chat about what's going on. The pig, the pig, we will talk about the pig as we go through this. But Josh, welcome as usual.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Good stuff. So how has the last 2 weeks been for you?
Last 2 weeks have been crazy busy. I mean, after coming back from consensus, I feel like I've been catching up on a lot of things. So, yeah, no, it's been busy keeping up, but just barely, it feels like.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on. I feel like that as well, that I've kind of been a little bit out of the loop on some things with lots of different moving parts. But that's why I like these streams too, is that as well as hopefully letting the community catch up a bit, it lets me catch up as well, talking to yourself and Farid and sometimes Pete too. I know he's away today, but we definitely need to try and get him on fairly soon. The question there just on Igon. I need to catch up with NavG fairly soon. I'm definitely overdue a stream with him, so I'll reach out and see, can we get that set up fairly soon. Let's look at the stats then. So if we look at, where's my screen? So again, anyone new to this, this is Tap Tools, the best place on Cardano to go for in-depth stats on everything between trading or projects or anything you want, I suppose, related to the numbers. So if you look here for the last 7 days, you can see one thing that's been interesting for me anyway is the rise of Sunday Swap here. So you can see in the last 7 days that Sunday Swap volume is up to 27%. And MinSwap are down to 61. MinSwap, I think every other week that we've done this or that I've looked at it even outside that, MinSwap were generally always over 70%. And a lot of this, I think, is coming down to, I was going to say Nike, but Nike, it's Nike for us here, but I know a lot of people prefer the Nike pronunciation. But a lot of it is coming down to that. And SundaySwap have V3 out. So that means that the DEX is really good right now. It's moving a lot quicker than it was. A lot of the additions they put into it are really good. So it's good to see that SundaySwap were the first to launch. They took a lot of heat. They knew launching, they were going to struggle. Cardano was not ready for or anything near the demand that came in at that time. And it was bad for Cardano. It was bad for SundaySwap, but it had to happen. Someone had to be the first. And to see that they stuck around and have built what they have now, I just have to say fair play and congratulations to them. MinSwap are still on V1, but V2 did come out in the last week or the last few days. V2 testnet went public. It looks really good too, and it's going to bring a lot of enhancements. With SundaySwap, people are liking that the swaps are fulfilled in the same block. So we do have that with the order book DEXs. Spectrum did have it too, but now SundaySwap have it. And for people coming in, it's a lot nicer experience that they're not waiting just as long for swaps to go through. So it's been getting good feedback. And a lot of that is on people coming in for Memecoins, which we will check in a minute. So we scroll on down then to look, you can see, where is it? Unique wallets. So again, unique wallets, when you look at MinSwap versus SundaySwap, SundaySwap definitely rising up there. Wingrider's still doing okay, and that I'm sure their volume is probably lower. So you can see MinSwap or Wingriders have nearly 6,000 people trading, where Spectrum are down at 2.5, even though Spectrum are ahead of them for volume. And that's down to Wingriders have reduced their batcher fees for smaller trades. So that means that when trades are being put through DEX aggregators or people are looking at them, then the smaller trades get sent to Wingriders, because then fees can be the difference in what the user gets back. Would you look at SundaySwap users up to 40,000 for 40,000 trades for the last 7 days. MinSwap at 93. So good to see these numbers rising. Look, if you compare them across other chains right now, it still is smaller numbers, but for those of us that have been here for a while, it's good to see these numbers starting to rise up again. And actually, if we look at, let's look at the last year just to see. So if we look at the last year, was December, I think it must have been, actually, it was even just before this. This was the last Memecoin season, I think, on Cardano, and things, it was maybe April, May last year. If I remember, there was a lot of trades kicking off at that time, and you can see the volume starting to rise. So compared to the last while, what we're seeing now is great to see, and you can even see the difference in the color. You see the purple coming in for Sunday with Min. Min has been the dominant DEX for so long now, and rightly so. They built a really good product there for those of us trading on Cardano. But Josh, before I go any further, go into the overall look of it, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like SundaySwap has for a long time been my example for projects that are built well, that make good products, that have a talented team behind them, but they might be lacking in the marketing side of things, or the community sentiment about it might not be so hot. So that's why they might not perform well. Even if you have a great product, you still need some of those other elements to do well. And I think the different ways that you can get awareness out there or change that sentiment is by continuing to innovate and creating a good product and letting the market figure out for itself that, like, oh damn, yeah, this is actually really good to use. Or you could just ramp up marketing like aggressively. And I think SundaySwap took the former version of that route by just creating a killer, incredible product that innovates and increases throughput, and just like it's better for scalability. They're keeping up with the times. I think this is a phenomenal show, and meme coins are always the thing that kicks off liquidity in the beginning. So it was a good stress test to demonstrate that, like, that is what's happening on SundaySwap. So that's what I'm observing here, is that, like, SundaySwap's battle ready. They're getting into it, and they're ready to compete with the best.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it's a good battle test for hopefully more projects kicking off and not just meme coins. We might get into that in a few minutes of whether meme coins are good or bad. There's definitely mixed opinions out there. But one new feature that Sunday put out this week as well is routing of trades. And MinSwap are going to have this as well when they go live with V2. And I think it'll really help the UX of trading on Cardano. And that is that if you have two different assets right now, if you're trading on the liquidity pools on dexes that are AMM dexes like Sunday or MinSwap or Finance, I've seen mentioned there, someone saying that they deserve more credit. Yeah, Finance have built a really good product there. I think, Josh, you're a fan of Fi too.
Yep.
But the routing, what it's going to do now is that you can swap any two assets. Right now, there has to be a liquidity pool if you want to swap, and most of the time you have to swap against ADA. We're starting to see a few more with stable coins, but what you're able to do then is it does two trades for you. So say I want to go from, someone mentioned IAG there. So you want to go from IGON to World Mobile. You can do that through the DEX interface. Behind the scenes, there's actually two trades that happens. It swaps the IAG to ADA and then swaps the ADA into WMT. But in your wallet, you send out IAG and you get back WMT. So I think that's really good for people trading on Cardano that don't want to take the hassle of having to do these multiple trades. They send out one, they wait for it to come back to their wallet, and then they do the other one. It's done with chaining of transactions, and that's how they're able to do it. I need to look a little bit more into it because I'd like to be able to do it through our aggregator as well and try and pull it in that we could maybe do it across dexes. But need to look at that one. See, Richard says here, Min V2 in 1 week. Can Sunday compete with this? Saturn and Splash are launching in the next week. Game on. Let the best X win. Yeah, look, for us as the end users, game on. It's driving more innovation. It drives more innovation between the competitors there, which gives us, the end users of these dApps, a far better experience. So it means that they have to continually be improving to get better and better products so that we actually go to them. It does have the downside of splitting the liquidity, which does hamper your trading, but that's why you have aggregators now that can pull that all together. With Saturn, I had a chat with Avatar Nick last week, I think it was, and there's some interesting stuff there. It is an order book DEX, but what they're doing is essentially, it is an order book, but all of the assets go into a pool, so it gets broken up like they do with Levy Finance. So it means that with Axo, when you're doing the trades, they've built, anyone new again, definitely check that out for some of the advanced strategies and things you can do. But sometimes the UTXOs are spread out. So it means that you end up paying slightly higher fees because you're including multiple UTXOs. What Splash or what Saturn are trying to do is they put it into a pool, they break the UTXOs up, and because they're all in that one pool, then you can pull them in for cheaper fees. But you can check out the interview for that. On Splash, yeah, looking forward to seeing that. And Josh, thoughts? That's me talking way too much.
Yeah, I think Farid just stepped in, so you might be able to bring him up.
Yeah. Hey, Farid, how are you?
I am muted. Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for keeping an eye out on that private chat, Josh. Sorry I'm late, but I've been listening in. So a lot of really good points and things that I'm excited to jump into. As always, thanks for hosting, Paul. Good to see and catch up with you guys.
No worries. Good to have you in. We're just started off going through the overall stats. We see MinSwap or SundaeSwap has started to make up some of the volume on MinSwap, which is good to see for Cardano. There's more competition out there. Like we were saying, it drives innovation for us, the end users. And we're going to get on to Memecoins and thoughts on that in a minute. So I'm just going to check comments, what I've missed. Huge week for NVL, guys. Stay tuned. That's Nuvla for anyone not familiar. What's it? They class themselves a deep in aggregator. So essentially you buy their token and they're setting up infrastructure on different deep in projects and you earn the rewards that they get. I think Igon, Minutes Network, Orcfax. Am I missing one?
Cornucopias.
How can I forget Cornucopias with Josh here? And Josh has some updates on that with the land deck, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Pablo, is that one of the chicken ones? I'm not sure. We'll get to memes in a minute.
Yeah.
And I'll say this here, and I'm sure the guys will be the same, that we're going to talk a little bit about them, but any we talk about is not endorsement for them or financial advice to go out and buy them or anything like that. But I think it's an interesting topic to have a chat about. What's up, Corny? There's another one that I haven't. Kronos Chain, probably the wrong stream, looking to talk about Memecoins on a different chain. David, good to see you. Catalysts Idea Fest on Thursday. Let us know where that is, and we can give that a shout out too. Catalyst voting starts the 27th. What's the 27th? Is Thursday. So anyone looking to vote, you have just over a week, is it?
Yes. Yep. Is registration still open?
No, it's closed.
Okay. Yeah. So voting starts, but yeah, if you've registered, yeah, you can vote.
Nice. Okay, let's take a look at the homepage here. And what's interesting on this is, so I like this here now that you can look at the transactions. So how many transactions there's been in the last 24 hours. So you can look at it 5 minute, 1 hour, 6 hour, 24 hour. But if we order this by the last 24 hours and the number of transactions, so makers is the number of individual traders and TXs then is the number of actual swaps that have happened. So if you look here, Nike is up with 6,000. It's been a long time since we've seen numbers like this. I've seen 7,000 and 8,000 in the last few days. But before that, it's been a while since we've seen them kind of numbers. I didn't even actually see this one. You can see here, this one actually was only created 14 hours ago. 2,200 trades in the last 14 hours. Snake, which is still the biggest meme coin on Cardano. If you look at where is the market cap, still by far the biggest one. But Nike is starting to make some inroads. Actually, anyone not familiar with Nike? Josh, do you want to say what Nike is, or?
Well, can anybody say what Nike is? So Nike is Charles Hoskinson's pig, which he was tweeting about last week. As soon as Charles tweeted about it, somebody right away went and created a coin around it. Wasn't Charles, as far as we're aware, presumably, and some pseudonymous person behind the Nike coin is out there pushing it and hasn't rugged it yet. So we'll see if it's trustworthy.
From what I understand, they had some LP and they burnt the tokens, and yeah, there hasn't really been a huge withdrawal yet. But yeah, it was a community member that created it right after, and they turned over the keys to the actual Twitter account to One Wise Melon and I think one or two other members, which are not affiliated with it, but they've been doing a really good job in terms of spreading the word out there. And obviously, when everything is green, everybody's ready to invest in. So it's crazy. I remember seeing it when I first saw it. It was at, I think, 600,000. So before $1 that was like 12 hours after it launched.
Mm-hmm.
I came back like the next day from a personal trip, and it was at 2 million. Went to sleep, woke up, it was at 5 million. And it just kind of stood there for a day or two. And then yesterday or 2 days ago, it bumped all the way up to $16 million in terms of market cap. So it's just really, really, really impressive to see how many people have come out. And even the Twitter account started off with 500 or 600 when I first saw it. And I think I last checked and it might be 5,000 or 6,000 now. So just really seeing how many people have come into this space has been crazy. I've seen a lot of people, even from Solana, now talking about it. What's his name? Mario Nawfal was tweeting about it. And so all these people that were, accounts, or that are accounts with millions of Twitter followers, posted about this, which I think really, really played into the hype. Like, if those initial posts weren't made, I'm not sure that Nike would be where it's at. But the fact that a lot of legitimate accounts posted about it early on, in addition to Charles sort of keeping the thing going, he's now shared with us his little pig pen. He's shared more content about how he actually got the pig. I think all of that plays into people just being more bullish about it.
Yeah, you see Charles, I think it was yesterday even, he put out a video looking at where Nike sleeps. So he's kind of feeding the hype around it and people jumping on it. If you look at other chains, then there are meme coins about pets of founders, and that's where this one kind of kicked off. Then someone asking, does that look like a bull flag? I think you can't do technical analysis on something that's when was this launched? The 17th of June. So it's only 7 days old. So some people will do technical analysis on it and tell you, oh yeah, it's going here or there, but it's 7 days old. It's fueled on hype. So there's no way to know where it's going to go. You could have one or two big whales that decide to dump it or manipulate it or do whatever they want. So anybody who got in here and even put in a few hundred ADA has got a lot of control over it. So when you get into these things, you get in knowing the risks, and I wouldn't try and judge where it's going to go. Obviously, you hope it's going to go up when you get big drops like this. If you do think the community are going to push it forward, these are the times you buy. But when it's just continually going up, it's very hard to get in at a decent price. But in terms of meme coins, then in general, good, bad for Cardano, or what's your thoughts?
Who's to say? No, I generally land in the bad category. I just because it's well, so I'll caveat that. I'll add a disclaimer to this. In no way, because it's a free decentralized ecosystem, people are allowed to do whatever they want. And I support the ability for people to do whatever the heck that they want. That doesn't mean that it's a good thing or beneficial thing or something that does benefit ecosystems. I know one of the main arguments in favor of meme coins, generally speaking, is that it brings new faces into the ecosystem. It creates new liquidity. It gets, it's good marketing tools or whatever, that kind of stuff. But this might be the like research equivalent of a trust me, bro, but I've got some friends that are conducting some research about like the impacts of meme coins and whether or not that liquidity actually does get proliferated throughout an ecosystem. And it seems like what they're finding is that a vast majority of that liquidity does actually end up exiting the ecosystem at some point, oftentimes within a very short period of time. Because when meme coins go crazy, other people just spawn up as much as they can because it's easy, because there's not really a barrier to entry to creating one. So anybody can do it. And it's like spam mail in your email. You know, it's anybody can just send whatever they want to everybody and anybody, and you know, call that marketing. But it doesn't mean that it's good. Doesn't mean that it's effective. You know, I see some benefits of it. Like people that used to be bearish on Cardano, that used to throw a lot of shade our way, are all of a sudden saying positive things about Cardano, not because of, you know, the innovation or the utility of what's even built in the ecosystem, but because of a pig. And you know, because of the hilarity around that, because of the joke. So I can't say that it's all negative. I can't say that it's 100% a bad thing and it's evil and nobody should do it. But you know, there are positives and there are negatives. I just happen to think that the negatives may very well, in most cases, outweigh the positives. That's my perspective on it.
I'll jump in here. Unless, Paul, you want to go in?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's really, really interesting to see, because I think there's people on both sides of the fence, right? Like nobody's complaining about all the new people that are coming in here. Nobody's complaining about the exposure Cardano's getting. But what I think does need to be highlighted is the fact that we have seen, at least for the first couple of days, liquidity getting pulled out from other native assets and being poured into Nike, right? So that does take away from people that are building real value, real protocols that aren't just here for meme hype, right? So I think it's a very, very fine line. Obviously, the more people that we can get coming in from outside with fresh liquidity, the better. But I've definitely seen a couple of posts across my feed of people like, hey, Cardano's amazing, but the past couple of weeks have been the most discouraging, or the past couple of days have been the most discouraging, because of the fact that like we're building a solid product. We've been struggling to gain funding, and then a pig token that literally pops out of thin air comes out and is able to gather, you know, a fully diluted market cap of nearly $16 million in 7 days. I mean, just for comparison here, we take a look at a project like Nuvola. They've been doing amazing, right, since they've come out, and they've been in the ecosystem for about 2-3 months now. And they're at a fully diluted market cap of like 6 to 7 million. So to think that Nike is 2.5x of where Nuvola is with no value, no utility, is pretty crazy. But like, that's the space that we're in. So I can't wrap my head around it, but I can tell you who's not complaining. Sunday Swap, MinSwap, Dex Hunter. I'm not sure how things are looking on your end there with ADA markets, right? But I'm sure you guys have seen increased user activity. So I think there's people that benefit. Obviously, Nike token holders benefit. But I would also say that, you know, people that have been building here a solid product, they might not be too happy. And I understand both sides of the coin. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree in that it's great to see new people coming in, but like Josh was talking about there, how much of it actually stays within Cardano, or how much of it is people jumping from chain to chain, sucking out some of the liquidity. And you will have the experienced people that have done this on other chains that are able to come in and have a insights or a fair idea on tokens that they can help pump or that will pump, that they can get in, get out, take the profits that they make and jump to the next one, or jump to the next chain that has it. So what I'm more interested in is the people that come in and actually explore. We see people coming in and actually starting to use wallets and starting to use Cardano and see, oh, you can actually do something on Cardano, because even outside of our ecosystem, there's still people think that there's no smart contracts, that you can't trade, or that there's no DeFi or anything like that. So the good side is that gets exposure, that you can actually do stuff on Cardano. And with the likes of Sunday fulfilling swaps within the same block now, things like that do help. And it does help that user experience, that people aren't waiting what some people who might have come into Cardano when the likes of Sunday launched first and were waiting a few days for their trade to go through, or that's what they've heard about it. And now they actually try it because they want to jump on a meme coin to try and get profits. And they're like, oh, well, things aren't actually near as bad over here as I thought. I've seen lots of tweets about that. People saying you can actually use it. You can swap. It's only taken whatever X amount of time. Swaps are 10, 15 cents or something like that. I've seen the others then come in and say, well, you can swap within 1 second and for 1 cent on other chains, but each chain has advantages. Even getting it out there that, yes, you can have your 10, 15 cent swap fees or whatever it is. I suppose with batches on top, it's a little bit more, but it is putting a better reflection out there of Cardano, even if a lot of the people come in, use it, go away. They go away thinking, well, the chain actually can be used and they might keep more of an eye on it. There is the other side. And you see David said here about working his ass off on Cardano for years and got no recognition. Then a wild pig appears. And that is the thing, is that it can be disheartening for lots of builders on the chain that have struggled to get funding, that have struggled to get users. We've seen it when liquidity has been thin, if there's new launches coming up, even before Memecoins, where liquidity gets sucked out of projects to jump on to the next launch that's coming or whatever's coming, because it was the same liquidity moving around. So we do have to be cautious of that, but meme coins are a part of crypto culture now, whether people like it or not. They are what can bring people in, but it's important to show what else is there on the chain when they do come in for them types of things.
He's not a wild pig, by the way. From what I hear, he's a good
He's very
pig.
tame.
He's a good pig.
Yeah, so memes in general are dangerous, but Nike has definitely brought eyeballs. Cardano, I've no doubt that the money will trickle back into project offering utility. So yeah, some will leave the ecosystem, but I do think some will stay in projects. It's kind of about the people who've been here already that aren't the ones that lose out on funds, because when you're getting involved in these, you are just trading against someone else. You're trying to get in and get out before they do, because with 99.999% of meme coins, it's going to pump, it's going to dump, it's going to fall away. And that's not saying that about any one in particular, but that is generally what happens with all of them. So, or with the 99, I think the likes of Snake, different. They've proven, they've been around, they're trying to do a lot of different things. They're the outlier. And even Nike, with the way that it's continued to go up, it's an outlier in what's going on. If you look at, there's a Snake bot now for creating tokens, and there's a few new ones created every hour. I was looking at it at one stage, and it was every few minutes, there was new meme coins being pumped out. Now, they ended up getting nearly no volume in them, but that's how many can come out, or that's how many do come out in times like this when it's hyped up. What's this? Governance, V2s, V3s, various protocols, new DEX, like Saturn and Splash. The list goes on and on. Yeah, that's what we need to give exposure to people when they do come in. But way too much at way too high. Here's the hoping it goes up one day. I don't know if that's ADA or something else. A lot of Cardano projects have suffered over the last few months. There's probably not that many that are up against ADA in the last while. Yep, memes are a part of the culture. Yeah, this here is a good point, and I think we really got a good test last year, April, May timeframe, when we had meme coin season, where we really got to test what was going on the chain and see what it was capable of. What have I got here? We have T minus here. What's going on, guys? So anything else on meme coins before we move off then?
I hope not.
Farid, anything else from you?
Not necessarily. I know you guys were talking about it earlier before I jumped on. I think it's a side effect of like the meme season, where we're now starting to see volume pick up on Sunday. So I'll just quickly say it's going to be interesting for me, because I know there's a lot of upcoming launches, to see who's able to adopt and create liquidity pools for what and how quickly. Because as we've just seen with Nike, if you get the right one, that can bring a lot of volume, which equals new eyeballs, transaction fees, and more volume on these different DEXs, right? So MintSwap historically has had the majority of that. If anybody wants to chip at it, it seems like adopting meme coins and facilitating trading on your DEX as quickly as possible could be a way in, right? So that's just something that I've noticed, and I'm really interested to see how that goes moving forward, especially with the other side of the coin, right, where there could be meme coins that don't necessarily do well, and you probably don't want those trading on your DEX as well. So maybe in the future, when I've got some of the DEX teams on, I'll ask them about how they figure out, how they want to either create liquidity pools or which ones to verify versus not. Because I think one thing that really allowed for Nike to get to the point that it did is how quickly it was integrated into the DEX aggregators, right? So people go into these places, they get instant exposure to it. So again, just my 2 cents there. But I'm going to be watching the dynamics with the DEXs and how the dominance across the DEXs shifts as more meme coins come about.
Yeah. And Farid, by the way, I remember when Sol Maxis were saying the failing transactions were due only to high load, Cardano hold my beer. Yeah, look, we've seen the Cardano chain being up well. It's been above 90% for long periods of times in the last few days. So what we've talked here about being a good stress test, it does show that if we do start to get sustained volumes like this, we are going to need to look at improvements, and governance will be, I'm not sure when we will actually be able to vote on the parameters. I know the interim committee will have the power for it, but whether they will want that responsibility of choosing to change parameters or not, I'm not sure. But we might talk about that another day. By the time we have our next call, the vote should be, well, the vote's concluded. We should get the results. Did I see the 26th of June for the results of the interim constitutional committee?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think the next few days anyway, something like that. And Corny B says about PAM, T-minus guys are in the chat. I had a chat with Dan today, or done a live stream with him this morning, talking all about it, the updates, the recent partnerships, and that's live on T-minus platform right now. Hey, Rocky, good to see you in. Let's see. I'm not touching meme coins, just buying ADA and staking with the PAM project. I've seen Dan chat with you and Farid. He's great. Can some of you pronounce that? Extempore speaker. I'm blown away.
Extemporaneous?
Yeah, extemporaneous. Yep.
Okay. It's getting too late for me. That's all I use. Yeah, look, I really like projects like that have use outside of crypto, that there is a problem outside of crypto, the crypto solves rather than creating the solution first. There's a problem out there that you then create the solution for. Talked today about RealFi and talked about how you can actually give loans to some of these farmers or some of these people that are involved in producing the crops or producing the commodities. And by people in crypto giving the loans, then we can earn yields on that or earn interest, and the people getting it at the end are getting easier access to funding, and they're still paying a lower rate than they would be in the local area. So things like that are what I really want to see more of in crypto. And as well, profits that are made by the project are put back into the crypto ecosystem. So like World Mobile, we see people paying for a product outside of crypto, but that funds goes back in. So rather than just recycling the same money around and around, I really like aspects like that. And I want to see more and more projects build like that over the next few years. And they're the kind of ones that, for longer term, they're the kind of ones I like to get into too. It's fine to gamble on some of the smaller ones in the short term, but for longer term plays, for me, they're the types of ones that I generally look to get into. And in terms of the longer term, Josh, do you want to give a quick update on Cornucopias and the land deck that came out today?
Yeah, sure. A lot of people in our community has been looking forward to that information for, like, I guess a couple of years. It was a couple of years ago that they first minted the land NFTs. And now that we're getting close to being able to have a like proper full game loop within the next year or so, we have to have some kind of a framework for how those land NFTs are going to operate within the Cornucopias ecosystem. So we put out a deck that we've been trying to get out for like a couple of weeks now. And that deck outlined what the utilities would be, what the rewards would be, how it interacts with different XP systems within the Cornucopias universe, and yeah, how it acts as kind of like that centerpiece of the Cornucopias economy in game. There's, it's not a very long document. You could read through it in 10, 15 minutes, and it's just bullet pointed bits of information about how it all works and what you can do with your land assets and what you can expect over the next 6 to 9 months approximately, in terms of like when we might see these reward systems come in place. So it's a lot of really exciting information out there. I definitely recommend that anybody, especially if you own Cornucopias Land Plus, definitely give it a read, because that utility it's huge. It's a big deal for people to get to know and get to understand, and especially if you're a game enthusiast. The way that they've designed it, they've really kept in mind fairness of the game, so that it doesn't like make this a pay to win type of game. It maintains so that like anybody can come in at any time, and it's always going to be a fair game, and there's always something that you can come in and contribute to the in-game economy. So it's a powerful document, and I've got a video about it coming tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm waiting for the Josh breakdown video. I'll give the deck a look too, but I want that video on the speculation of where you think it's going to go. So I'm wondering, is this coming from the team, or is this just Josh speculating himself? So keeps me guessing.
Yep.
Farid, any projects that you've been watching? Any updates to cover?
I think there's been a lot. I've actually been on travel for the past couple of days, so my upload schedule's been crazy. I haven't been able to stick to it as much, but I've got a ton of different notes and a ton of different links to actually jump into, check out. So I would say for now, nothing, crazy bounces to my head, aside that, or outside of the Nike recent partnership with CF and Argentina, et cetera. But I know there's still a lot of building going on. I know you guys were discussing V2. I know that the Palm token launch actually just kicked off earlier today. So again, I think for me, it's just really just diving back headfirst into Cardano and everything that's going on. And then also looking at other ecosystems and other blockchains as well. So I know the Apex team announced some teasers surrounding an incentivized testnet. And then I know that there's also been some updates about Midnight. So again, I've got some catching up to do. And I'm going to be releasing some content about that over the course of the coming week, now that I'm finally back in my regular spot. So it's always good to travel, but man, nothing beats being home. Nice.
Yeah, it's good to get out as well for a while. Get away from the screen, touch grass like they tell us to do, which us crypto people rarely do or don't do enough. But yeah, Midnight, I've heard rumors that it's getting closer, but I don't think we still have any indication on dates or launches or airdrops. They're the questions I get all the time, but I don't think we have any updates on them, do we?
Not that I'm aware of. I've been seeing some of the posts, the soon posts, but yeah, no, yeah. Nothing announced yet.
Yeah, it's there'll just be lots of speculation, but until I see something directly from the team or hear from someone directly involved in it, then I won't be putting anything out myself. Really, I cover some of the guesses, but always letting people know that we don't really know yet, and I'm still not expecting any launch for another few months yet. I'd say Q4 could be best case, really, because we still haven't got a public testnet yet. So we need that, and we need dApps before it's going to launch.
True story.
Well,
wait, so Farid, if you've been traveling, does that mean that you missed the flurry of announcements that Zengate Global put out of all the partnerships that they're pairing up with?
I didn't miss out on that. Thank you to Twitter. So I have been keeping up with a lot of that, but like all the other stuff in between, man, it's so much stuff. And I mean, to be honest, half of it was Nike related stuff, you know. So I didn't miss those. But I'm really happy about that, you know, what that team has been able to do. I actually just had a Twitter space with them yesterday, and yeah, watching them, you know, a year ago when they had no product to where they are now with pretty big partnerships, I think has been huge. And for anybody, you know, who isn't able to participate in the token sale, keep in mind that there is the ongoing ISPO as well. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts surrounding that? I know you've been keeping up with Zengate as well.
Yeah, no, that they're very quickly becoming one of my favorite projects, I think, because they're making all of the right partnerships. And I think that the most brilliant partnership that I can't get over still, like how genius it is the World Mobile and Zengate Global partnership, because they're literally they're creating customers for each other. You know what I mean? Like that they're trying to reach farmers in underreached areas that don't have access to global markets. Those people also don't really have great access to the internet. That's why they don't have access to global markets. So World Mobile creates the internet access that those people can, you know, get access to the global markets. And then, you know, the Palmyra platform creates a way for those people to earn money so that they can pay for internet services, or they can create jobs so that people other people can pay for internet services and get access to global markets that way on their own as individuals. You know, it's like it's the perfect symbiosis between the two. I think that they're both really doing something to provide more value to the people that they're serving than they are themselves. And that's going to make a big difference for the future of them, because they're not going anywhere, because their prime target audience needs them. And they're doing a great job of finding those synergies and working together. So yeah, that's
And I would just say, to just maybe touch on World Mobile, they've been teasing since the beginning of June some big announcement. And so to see all of the things that have already come out with other projects, and to know that it's not that I'm like, okay, well, they've got what, 6 or 7 days left in. I don't know, man. They continue to hype it up. So I think they've got a community call coming up very soon. So if anybody here is a part of the World Mobile community, definitely want to keep an eye on, since we are coming to the close of June, and they've promised us a pretty big update.
Yeah, I'm waiting for all that as well. I don't know, is there an Earth node operator call tomorrow or the next day? I know I've seen the dates. I must check that. So I'm hoping to get some extra leaks in that. Whether they'll be embargoed like the initial stuff about the changes to Aya or not, I'm hoping not. I expect the community to. There was a few Twitter spaces today. I didn't get to join in. I don't know if there was any leaks in it. I presume if there was, I would have seen them everywhere. One from last week actually on World Mobile is with Minutes Network, which is founded by Mickey's brother Josh. There's going to be an airdrop for all World Mobile token holders. So 2.5% of the Minutes token supply will be, I don't know if it's going to be airdropped or if there'll be a claim process or how that's going to work, but there will be WMT holders will be able to claim them. I don't know if either ye caught the process, or maybe they haven't even released that yet.
Yeah, all I saw was the confirmation of the 2.5%, but no instructions on how.
Yeah, I would presume there will be some vesting, and it won't be just all dumped together. But all three of us follow the project, so we'll probably all have videos out about it when we do get the updates. But I am looking forward to hearing what else is going on, or what else we can find out. Richard says here, actually, this Thursday is the World Mobile Community Call. And is it this weekend for the World Mobile stream that you do, Farid, or is it next week?
Yes. So it was supposed to be 2 days ago. However, I was out on travel, so we canceled that one. But the team did give us a heads up that they wanted to schedule one out of the normal scheduling. So if I take a look, actually, that is the 29th. So still before the end of June. So I haven't gotten all the details yet, but it sounds like they might be wanting to at least cover or break some news on that coming stream this Saturday. So yes, I'll be streaming.
Okay. So actually, I didn't say it in the beginning, but Josh and Farid's channels are in the description. I'm sure everyone is subbed already. If not, make sure and subscribe. And in general, Farid does every second Saturday, isn't it? You do a World Mobile stream.
That is correct. So yeah, every other Saturday that we've got Rob and Cal from Clover Nodes who run a Twitter space, and every other Saturday we do a live stream. So again, this past weekend was supposed to be a stream, but we'll be streaming this coming Saturday. And then after that, we should be back to our normal scheduling.
Nice. I'll make sure I have to tune in this Saturday to see what them updates are. And anyone else, every second Saturday after that, make sure you tune in for the World Mobile updates. Any other, actually, just one of the other partnerships then for PAM was with USDM. And just to mention for anyone that mightn't have seen this, that they have rebranded. So Moneta, if I get the pronunciation right, they have rebranded the name from Mehen to Moneta. They have changed the logo. I've seen some mixed feedback on the logo and on the name, and I don't know if that's people don't like change or if they just don't like the logo. I'm not sure. But basically, USDM as a fiat-backed stablecoin for Cardano and native asset, it's not going to change. The product doesn't change, but they will have other stablecoins, other fiat-backed stablecoins, like one for the euro, I think. I didn't see dates on anything like that. But anything you guys want to add on it?
Yeah, I think from a pronunciation standpoint, I've been saying Moneta. Okay. I know you've got a different accent, Paul, but yeah. So I've been saying Moneta. I know that the reason why the team changes, I think, because of some of the underlying meanings with the previous name, right? Which people maybe just weren't associated with, but people outside the US quickly picked up on some of the undercurrents of what that actually meant. And I think that was wise for the team to rebrand. It was also really good, I think, in terms of timing, because they've rebranded and changed the logo for the actual USDM token itself. So I feel like, if you're going to rebrand one piece, you may as well do it all now. But yeah, I'm excited for, all the liquidity, all the adoption, and all the integrations that this team has been able to do. So yeah, just wanted to just quickly state that there. But Moneta, I believe is how it is, but I could be wrong here as well.
Josh, you get the deciding vote.
Oh, do it. Well, I have no problem with it. I mean, if you're gonna do a rebrand, like at the beginning of your company before it takes off, if you've got a great idea, is probably the best time to do it. Yeah, I have no clue what it was about or whatever, but I'm just upset that like all of my Mehen videos are now outdated and no longer considered evergreen content. So have to start building up that library again. But hey, not my call.
Yeah, they could have got even Mehen or Mehen, or there was different pronunciations. Why couldn't they pick the name this time that was just simple, that everybody gets the right pronunciation for it? Actually, on them, a question I always get is retail. But again, I don't think there was any dates put out on retail being able to, for anyone watching, retail will be any of us being able to get involved as individuals rather than being as a company.
Was that a question? What?
On the dates, you guys didn't hear any updates, did you, on when retail?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. You say, what'd you call it, Frida? Moneta. Okay. I'll try. I'm not going to remember that. It's like Aiken and Icon, and I say it different every time. Right. What else have we got? Any other project updates that we've missed? In the comments, let us know. We probably 10 minutes left. If anyone has any topics or questions or anything they want us to go through, let us know. If we still have anyone here that's new to trading on Cardano, one thing I wanted to mention is on other chains, when you go to trade, when you do a market order, a lot of times it doesn't go through. It'll fail if it's outside your slippage and the order just doesn't go through. With Cardano, if you trade with a market order, if it can't be executed on the liquidity pools, if your acceptable price is outside of the range of what it can deliver, then it sits as a limit order. So if you have put orders in and they haven't returned to you within a few minutes, really, then just go in and check. And if you check on the DEX or wherever you place your order, and you'll see it then sitting as a limit order. If you're not happy to wait, then you should be able to just cancel it in there. But that's one difference that you would see from other chains. Did you see Martin Lawrence's tweet song? I did, yeah. I seen him saying that he was bullish on Cornucopias.
Wait, did you see he also had a meme coin that popped up?
I did. I presumed it wasn't.
Though, right?
Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah, that's not like he didn't run that one. But
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That boy was pumping. It was pumping. So I know we got Richard in the house. He's asked, I think, and pinged a couple of us on Twitter in times past to cover one interesting platform, and maybe we can close out on here, but it's called riskwisepro.io. Reminds me of Tap Tools, and then Pandora, which is basically Lending Pond, which has rebranded and sort of shifted into a brand new landscape. So Richard, I hear you. I will definitely be providing some updates surrounding that now that I'm back. But just wanted to at least put that on your guys' radar if you guys want to go ahead and check that out as well. I know Lending Pond was pretty big into the space. Obviously, there's been other lending protocols like Fluid that popped out since then. We saw, I think there's another one as well. But then even more recently, JPEG.store also adding lending and borrowing, right? So they're definitely up against a lot of competition. And then looking at Riskwise Pro, I mean, Tap Tools right now is like the place to be, right? So as new market entrants or competitors, like you really have to offer something that nobody else is doing in order to really begin to bring some traffic to your platform. So again, I'm going to be doing my own due diligence, but it's really good to see more people building. I just wish that we would be building across different verticals as opposed to like oversaturating certain verticals, for example, like wallets, DEXs, and DeFi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't really, I seen something on this a while back, but I hadn't looked too much into it. But it looks like an older version. I know when I looked at it before, it looked like a direct copy of Tap Tools at the time. The UI looked exactly the same. It looks to have changed a small bit here since I looked at it last. But I will dive more into it. See, Nike has passed 0.05 ADA, or is on 0.05. Is that, I don't know, it had a high back here. But crazy to see how it's growing. But yeah, I'll check out the platform after this. Might cover it in something too. See what else have we missed here. Copy node sale. Don't think you mentioned that, Josh, when you're talking. It's finishing next week or at the end of this week. Yep. The node sale is going to pause. I don't know what the latest is on the number of nodes sold, but there is a calculator on the Cornucopias site where you can go in and estimate the kind of returns that you're going to get. But for anyone interested in it, then you do have a few days left to get a node before they pause it. And from talking to Rob and the other Josh, I don't think there's a date yet of when they might reopen it. It's just sometime in the future.
Sometime in the future. It'll be a little bit of ways down the road. So it'll be a while before you get an opportunity to get into it. That these next 6 to 9 months are going to be a lot of like testing the network, making sure that everything works properly, making sure that everything is like solid moving forward. I mean, they've already run some tests in the background and the system works. That they've been able to get multiple nodes running up, and yeah, it's exciting. You've got about 6 days left from today. Sunday will be the last day to pick one of those up, and those utilities are not just like getting more Copy rewards. Like, you know, there will be a lot of other in-game utilities too that people want to get access to.
Okay, I need to decide if I want to get enough to be
public pool
operator. Yeah, so I need to crunch my numbers in the next few days, and the markets right now aren't helping that when you look at it. Sure. I don't know actually if we mention. I'm going to go through the comments, and then if nothing else comes in, we'll just touch on the overall markets, or if you guys have something else to cover. Let's see what I missed here. Thoughts on Cardano being the right chain for governments to build on because of decentralized strength of Cardano? I think, yeah, that's definitely one of the big strengths of Cardano and what it's pushing for, and going even more decentralized as one of the real strengths. And I think when you really go down that path, you're always going to struggle against some of the chains that are ultra quick, less than a second transaction settlement and stuff like that. But that's just one of the trade-offs that you make. So I think the likes of that, governments, bigger institutes, we've seen different partnerships, different explorations for what the Cardano Foundation are trying to do. Argentina, Dubai, different areas. And I think that's definitely their focus of things. It's very far removed from meme coins, but that you want the chain to be able to have a little bit of everything, but you are going to have areas where are the real big strengths of the chain. And I talked to Phil there again recently and George about L2s on Cardano and what's going to be coming. And you can always spin up individual L2s for, you could have a meme coin L2 that's lightning quick, that trades are instant settlement and stuff like that. And once you get the UX around that, okay, then I think that's very acceptable for the community. But your thoughts on, I suppose, in general, the direction Cardano is looking and with the likes of governments?
I've talked with a lot of people outside of direct connection with the Cardano community. And the thing that like nobody seems to be able to deny that Cardano is doing right is the self-governance models and the proper like decentralization and stability that it has built into its mechanism to give power, control, you know, in the hands of the community. So I think once those things go live, Cardano will be quite unstoppable. Nobody will be able to like have any considerable control over it unless they're collaborating with thousands of other people somehow. Malicious activity is going to be impossible on Cardano to the degree at which like Bitcoin is at or greater. So yeah, it's the right move to make. It's going to really help us to unlock a lot of capacities to have our voices heard and take Cardano the direction that we want to go. There's been lots of frustration in the communities, like, oh, we need to do that, we need to do this, we need to pay for that, we need to pay for this. These are the kinds of things that you know we keep hearing in the community, and nobody feels like they're being heard because you know those decisions aren't being made yet. And soon we'll be able to start discussing those things and actually making some calls to make some things happen. So I'm incredibly excited for it.
Farid, what's your thoughts?
Nothing else to really add at this point, man. I'm like scrolling through Twitter trying to catch up on everything that's going on here. So I'll have more content coming out in the channel. I see there's been some requests in the chat, you know, about certain projects that have been building, and some of them that have been a little bit quiet. So I've got quite a bit to do some digging around and bringing people on board. But I did recently also chat with Phil and I want to say it was Joseph, the other gentleman's name.
George, I had George on. Maybe it was a different.
Yes, I think it's George. So I apologize for that. But yeah, excited for layer 2 and scaling and seeing, you know, how that offers more benefits to Cardano and all the builders within it. So stay tuned. I've got a couple of interviews that I've been meaning to push off for the longest, and hopefully I can get them out sometime this week. So again, always a pleasure to be joined by you guys and to talk about Cardano.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you joining in. I'm going to fly through the comments here. X-Ray. Yeah, X-Ray is one I haven't heard a lot about in a long time. I think the developers were in Ukraine, so that kind of slowed the project down initially. I don't know what the latest is on it. They were kind of trying to do everything from what I remember. They were trying to do absolutely everything in DeFi. There was wallets, DEXs, I think lending, borrowing maybe. But from what I remember of the project, they were trying to do a bit of everything and maybe trying to do too much. If there was more of a focus, I know they were building out a lot of infrastructure and stuff too. There was a lot of good stuff that was meant to be coming, but I haven't looked at what the latest is. Bana, I think that was a project looking at more web-based games, wasn't it? More retro games than, say, the likes of what Cornucopias is trying to do. I think they're very different in what they're trying to do. Pavia mentioned here as well. Haven't heard much on Pavia lately. I know at one stage they tried to move some of the tokens to Ethereum or half the supply. They canceled that then and pulled it back. So I'm not sure what the latest is, but like Farid said there's a few projects I need to jump into myself. And just on the overall markets, what I see as the biggest reason for today is MtGox. which was the earliest exchange for trading Bitcoin. I can't remember the year now. Actually, I have the article somewhere. Was it 2014, 2013, 2014 or something like that, when originally they realized they had lost a load of Bitcoin. And since then, people have been waiting to see what's going to happen. Every so often we get articles about, oh, there's going to be MtGox are going to start dumping on the market, and then it fades away and it doesn't happen. And it looks like now distributions will start in early July. And that's one of the big reasons for today. Germany sold Bitcoin over the last week as well. So two events coming together looks to be the reason for the markets dropping a bit. But look, Bitcoin's still in around 60K. We can't really complain if we look at the bigger picture. It's still very much on track with other cycles and where it is and where it's going to go. The likes of ADA and other coins or tokens, probably a bit behind where they might have been in other cycles. But I think there's still a long way to go in the current bull market. So I'm not going to be getting too worried yet myself. Any closing thoughts from you guys before we shut it out?
Yeah, I'll just quickly mention Bitcoin is down 5%. Interesting enough, other assets, for example, like Render, up 5%. Ondo RWAs up 8%. Dog with Hat up 7%. Paribus up 5%. So it's really, really interesting. I feel like the at least a few of like the really strong or prominent altcoins seem to have like hit a bottom before Bitcoin has, where even though we're seeing a huge bleed out, like typically if Bitcoin was down 5%, I mean, I'm expecting everything to be down like 15% across the board, right? The other day, Bitcoin was at like 67%. It dropped 2%, and altcoins all went to like oblivion. And so it seems like now the dominance on altcoins is picking up relatively compared to Bitcoin, especially when you take a look at some of like the bigger narratives. Again, Render, AI, Ondo, RWAs, Dog with Hat memes, etc. Right? So could we be at a bottom? I don't know, but it definitely seems like altcoins seem to have sort of took the big hit a lot earlier than Bitcoin. So just something to observe when looking at some of the charts today, because again, typically if Bitcoin is down 5%, everybody else is in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it's a good point. I hadn't looked at this. Here is CoinMarketCap. Anyone who doesn't know how to do it, up here you can just change it to look at any currency that you want. So if you click on Bitcoin, you can see here that in the last 24 hours, there's a lot of green. And like Farid said, normally when the markets dump like this, it's Bitcoin is down 2-3% and the rest of the market's down 10% or that kind of thing. So a lot of it is fear of what's going to happen with MtGox. This is the letter that's been circulating around saying that for the beginning of July 2024, that they're going to start sending out or allowing people to claim the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash that they would be due. But people are still getting screwed over because Bitcoin was worth about $400 at the time that this happened. And what they're going to get back is the dollar value of the number of Bitcoin they had at that time. And they're putting the price of $400 on Bitcoin. So there's 9 billion in assets that are, I think the 9 billion is what it would be worth now, but people are only going to be able to claim back the dollar value at the time. So I don't know what's going to happen with all the extra Bitcoin. I haven't seen full clarification on that yet, but there's things going around saying that if people actually look at it and realize that it's not a full 9 billion that's going to be claimable and dumped on the market, and realize that it's probably a couple of 100 million that might actually be paid out to users, then things might pick back up fairly quickly. But we'll keep an eye on it anyway. But Josh, closing thoughts from yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I am consistently unfazed by market movements, whether it's going up like crazy or going down like crazy. Actually, that's not true. When it's up, I'm excited. But I with the stuff that we're seeing in the Cardano ecosystem, like I'm just excited. There's brilliant partnerships being developed every which way that makes sense, that's actually creating value. If Solana maxis can come over into the Cardano ecosystem and get excited about what's happening in this community, in this ecosystem, then retail can get excited about it too. So stuff to look forward to. There's a long road ahead. I would argue that the bull market hasn't even really started yet. And I'm just looking forward to when it does.
Great. Everyone that tuned in, thanks very much. Do appreciate everyone joining. Josh, Farid, appreciate your guys giving your time as usual. It's always great. I love having the conversation, get opinions on what's going on. I always learn something from you guys and from the comments down below. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like, share it out. Does help push the content out there of what's going on Cardano, and Josh and Farid's channel are in the description. Make sure after you subscribe here, you go over and do the same over there. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk soon.